Hello and welcome into Winging It, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm your host, Annie Finberg, joined by my co-host, Mr. Vince Carter.
VC's in the house.
VC is still in the house, and we are coming to you for another...
I'm still in the house.
We got another episode of the Winging It podcast. No guests today. It's just me and Vince, and we just wanted to come to you with, a somewhat special announcement, for lack of a better term, even though the announcement has come and gone throughout the year. But Vince, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing well. I'm feeling great. It's pretty simple. Yeah, I'm well. It's a lot going on, obviously, in the world, in the basketball world. A lot of back and forth, a lot of uncertainties. Still, as we record this right now, it's uncertainty still.
Yep.
But life's been good. The beginning and the start of retirement has been pretty good, particularly for my golf game. I'm able to focus a little more now. But no, seriously, all is well.
So let's go from the top. I'm assuming most people that are listening are aware that the Hawks were officially, quote unquote, eliminated from talks of going to Orlando for the whatever it's going to be, the playoffs of 22 teams. And so the Hawks are not in that, which therefore means, unless Vince has any news for us, that you are officially retired.
Yeah, I'm officially finished playing basketball. Yeah.
I think. Well,
I think. Okay, I'm officially done playing basketball professionally. I play at home.
Right. Maybe a couple like celebrity tournaments in the mix.
Yeah, maybe a couple. Yeah, maybe.
What's it like for you? Like, knowing obviously people want to see you, but knowing that for you, your career of playing professional basketball has come to an end.
What's it like? What's it been like? It's tough, and I think my answer to this is going to be different than what I guess everybody is expecting me to say, because I think I'm not going to say since, what was that, March
11th?
Yeah, March 11th. I'm not going to say since that day, but pretty close. Since near the end of March, we've talked about it. So I'm sure when I say this that I felt that it was pretty much over, and that's kind of how I've handled it. It made for, if there was any disappointment because of the season, if there was, any of that, it was kind of easier just to put it aside and handle it that way. It's like, okay, it's something bigger than, my career, which, I appreciate everybody really, I get it all the time. It's not fair. It's not right. And I get it. It's not. It's unfortunate, but with the coronavirus, it was taking people's lives rapidly. That's the big picture in my mind. So I was able to put the weird ending, the abrupt stoppage of play to an ending aside for the bigger picture, because obviously you're worried about family, friends, and as you go further on, there's always going to be somebody close to you or pretty close to you by way of somebody that's been affected by it. And we at the Hawks had a situation like that with our owner, with the passing of his brother. So it's just kind of like, it's one thing hearing it, it's another thing where it's like, man, this is really real. Mm-hmm. And you start worrying about that more so than anything. And, there's times like during the first, probably in April, I was like, man, I wish this didn't happen like that. And then probably the beginning of April-ish. And then after a while, it was kind of like, it is what it is. And once I was able to kind of put that aside and say retired Vince can go and golf now, it's been easier. Now, and speaking of golf, I joke about it, but I think my love for golf and playing golf helped subside and put to the side the basketball part of it, and to just say, hey, it's over, but I'm okay with waiting to see, because I get more time to to play golf and just do what I enjoy doing. So I think that's what made the transition, if you would, the waiting period easier, and I guess you could say an announcement. I guess it is official as far as like the Hawks not being into the 22 team playoff. So it made that announcement. It wasn't like a shocking blow. It wasn't like a painful blow, hearing it or reading it, talking about it, because I kind of was already there. So, I think for other people who had high hopes of, hey, maybe, and I know at one point in the beginning, they talked about all 30 teams. So I was like, okay, this will be a bonus and a pleasant surprise for me. But it didn't happen. So I was just like, okay, it is what it is. And it's awkward. I mean, but it's kind of a cool situation for me because I came into the league on a shortened season, and I walk away from the league on a shortened season. So, I mean, for me, it was just kind of a unique situation.
Yeah, that really came full circle with the lockout and now coronavirus. And
I didn't even realize, I didn't think about it until somebody, I can't remember who it was, but brought that to my attention. I was like, what? That was just crazy. So it's it's little things like that helped the acceptance of, this season being stopped abruptly, potentially over. Making my last shot helped the situation, because I think, honestly, if I didn't make my last shot, it'd have been a little different. Yeah. I'd have felt a little different, and I'd have been itching to at least get back and just play 1 minute and just make one shot. I don't care what it would be. Right. Free throw, layup. I don't care. I just, you always want to, as a player playing their last game, whether you know it or not, you always want to say, well, at least I made my last shot of my career. And I can actually say that. So I'm happy.
Yeah. It seems like, well, first of all, the basketball gods were kind of in your favor in that moment, because it kind of was all just like perfectly happened. And oh man. And I feel like, at least I know you pretty well, and it seemed like kind of since we first talked after March 11th, you've been like, I'm good either way. I made my last shot. So if we go back, cool. If we don't, also cool. So it seems like that last shot really allowed you to,
to be at peace, for sure. And like I said, in golf, was able to take my mind away from it. And like I said, I'm just waiting. And in the meantime, I'm still active and doing what I need to do, just some workouts, light stuff, nothing crazy, but still active, by playing golf, walking the course, a couple courses and stuff like that. So, I was still somewhat in the mode and ready to play if I needed to. Yeah.
And it seems like you've always known, because we've talked about it, that golf will be your kind of saving grace of retirement, because you're still competing, you're still like, a part of a sport and something that you get to wake up and go do first thing. And it seems like that's kind of been the case there.
For sure.
As far as your retirement goes, we've had so many conversations about this, and you have the longest NBA career of the entire NBA, but what made this the right time for you to be done? Like this year?
I have no clue. I honestly don't. I mean, it was just, I don't know. I really don't know what's, I mean, little things like, as a player, I still feel like I could play another year. I understand how the NBA works, and sometimes it gets frustrating for the older players in the league, if you would. And when you still feel like you can compete, and and I understand. I was on a team where we weren't playing for a playoff position, so now it's player development, and that's kind of when the older players or whatever kind of, I don't want to use the word push to the side, but now it's time to develop the younger players, and I understood that, and I knew that coming in. It's just that's just the frustrating. But I mean, if I'm playing on a different team that's still playing and competing for a playoffs spot and or championship, things could be different. You never know. I don't know. It's just, that's the tough part about it. I've always been a person to believe like the age shouldn't matter. It's the production on the court of the individual, should matter. And I know it's difficult for that to stay true when you have a younger team, but I just believe that's the way the game. When I walked into this game, that's how it was. I mean, it's like if you you're able to produce, and your production is there, we're going to play you, and it doesn't matter how old. I mean, you look at guys back in my time when I started, there were guys playing in their 40s and producing and getting it done and, playing significant minutes. So, it's tough. I can accept it and I understood my role. But it's just tough. And after a while, it's just like, all right, I'm not doing, not doing this, or just I play the game because I love it. But at the same time, I'm just thankful I can walk away when I want to.
Yeah. And you did that, and you did it after 22 years.
Yeah. Still awkward. Let me say that.
I bet
it is. That's why it's just kind of, it's still awkward.
To be retired?
To know that, I'll be breaking routine.
Right.
Now, that's kind of the thing. So as great it is to sit here and say, yeah, man, I'll get to just relax and don't put stress on myself to make sure I'm in shape. Basketball ready, that to that magnitude, sounds great right now. But when it gets down to, my body works on that schedule, which has been consistent for a lot of years. And when it kind of typically gets time to get back into that mode, it'll be, and maybe I'll do it just naturally, but have nowhere to go, no team to go to. That's when it'll kind of hit me.
What's crazy though is that even if you were coming back with the Hawks or say, any team, the routine would be totally different. So that's what's crazy too, is like, even if you weren't retiring, you talk about this date, I know I'm going to training camp, and this date, I know I'm doing that, but that would be totally different anyway. So
but I know that I'm going to a team, and I know that a season is I'm preparing for a season.
Right.
And so when it gets to that date, I mean, I was obviously I fix, my schedule as accordingly, but it's just to do so. And then when you get to, you're watching TV you're watching TV and you're seeing guys starting to play, and I'm still at home about to go shoot outside on the court in the yard. And that's when it's kind of like, oh man, this is real.
Yeah. Do you feel at all any odd lack of like closure? Like, I know I pictured the end of your season to be like that, going to Toronto one more time and that last game at home and all that. So I feel like I have a lack of closure, and I'm not even you.
Mm-hmm. It's weird, but there again, like I said, it'll be, for me, like I tried, and you've asked, people have asked, what's it going to be like to kind of, to have that, to play that last game in Toronto, and what's it going to feel like playing that last game in Toronto, feel like playing that your last career, your game of your career. And I could never picture it, imagine it. As much as I tried, I just never could, put the story together. And it got to the point where I said, I'm going to let it happen however it happens. And I knew both games would be super, super emotional for a lot of people. So that's why, as I thought about it, I was just like, I know I'll be emotional. I know I'll be thankful, and you just like every corner of the arena, every spot on the floor, sitting on the bench, walking down the hallway, you'll just reminisce the entire game. And I'll be fighting. I would have been fighting with taking the trip down memory lane for 48 minutes and still trying to play the game like I've wanted to play all year at the same time. Mm-hmm. That'd have been, that's the kind of thing, my mind, I was kind of looking forward to it, but dreading it at the same time, because yes, it'd have been a celebration and good old times, and the good old boys getting back together to reminisce. But my approach was, yes, it's fun, but I still want to play the game the right way, because and I say it, and I didn't want to be a distraction to my team. And I know it's a major moment and it's going to bring on its own distraction, but that's kind of was my focus all year. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. I wanted to approach this as business-like as possible and not be a distraction, and continue to help the team win and grow. So that'd have been a tough fight. I know it. So I don't know. I don't know how that'd have been. And the last game, I think, would have been just as bad.
Right.
For different reasons, because it's like now it's the last game of your career, not just your last game in Atlanta.
Right.
Not, this is it. The shocks are going up forever. You know what I'm saying? They're hanging up forever.
Hanging up your
in
shocks.
Arena. in an NBA arena.
Right.
I'll bring those bad boys out in somebody's wreck gym every now and
Somebody's
then.
front yard. Oh my gosh. I think you saved a lot of people a lot of emotions. Obviously I wanted to be at your last game. I wanted to be a part of that, but I think there would have been a lot of tears in all those arenas.
What's been cool? Receiving tweets from people and Weebos, because I do look at my Weebo. But receiving messages from people that I didn't know who said that they bought tickets to that game in Toronto. So I'm like, where the hell is all these people going to sit? Mm-hmm. Outside of the fans that are, that were, who are season ticket holders or, in Toronto, whatever. I'm like, how many people are going to be able to fit in this arena? So it'd have been cool. And I hope they would have, if it had to be standing room only, that'd have been cool to see. People standing in the aisles, and it'd just been like a big party. I know it's safety hazard. I get it, but that's kind of what as I was reading it and just thinking like, man, just imagine where they're going to put all these people. And it would have been cool to see. And it'd have been cool to kind of break records. Like, the first game, if you would, to have not only sold out, but standing room only, which meant people were standing in the aisles, in the concourse, and the court side, behind the court side, walk in the pack. You couldn't move. That'd have been cool to see and to be a part of. But
yeah, and all of those people would have been there just to see you, which is crazy because obviously there's Toronto. They sell out almost every game,
of course.
Right? But
no, they sell out every
that is a very special game. And how many people do seats there? 20,000 or?
Oh yeah, just about. So a little under 20,000. So
I would say about 20,000 would all be there to see you. Which
just imagine
you obviously have far beyond that.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's just been cool to see, and I can't imagine.
Well, hopefully, in the future of less coronavirus, maybe there can be some kind of a celebration at an arena of some kind, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's nothing. And that'd be cool, but it's nothing like that last game. Right. Playing that last game, because obviously the celebration would definitely be. That's just a celebration. No basketball. It'd have been. It'd have been a cool way to kind of celebrate, because that's just not like I'm saying, I'm sitting here talking about celebrating, having a party, and just people enjoying, the 20 plus years of basketball, people reminiscing and enjoying the 6.5 years in Toronto, the good times and all that. And that's what I want for them. But for me, I'd want to go out there and just play well.
Right. Just play basketball.
So it's kind of like I would have been torn, and that's kind of how I would approach it. And, I know leading up to it, that's probably the theme and the common denominator that you would hear from me the entire days leading up to it is I want everybody else to have a good time, but understand, if I'm not, if I'm not joining in the celebration, I'm subconsciously in the celebration. It's just, I have all of these other things in my mind that, reminiscing and stuff like that, where I was like, I want to play well for me. Cause I know it would bother me years later to look back at, when you see the last game again, oh man, just to not score or, something crazy. So that's all.
So like we talked about how all those people would be there to see you. You have so many fans. You have fans who loved you because of Toronto. You have fans who loved you because of the dunk contest, fans who loved you because you were played for the Hawks, like, you know, for all so many different reasons. But since you were in high school, but since you were at Carolina, these people have followed you. They've cheered for you. They've rooted for you. What have those fans meant to you as a player? And, you know, what would have been different about your career if you hadn't had that support consistently for the 22 years?
I honestly don't know if I didn't have the support. And at the same time, for all my career, and I think that's why, you know, some of the times back in the day, you know, hearing people that I did love playing the game and so on and so forth, it was disappointing, and that was hard to handle more than anything, because that's just me. That's why when I played the game, you know, I played to win. But I had a smile on my face because I was thankful every day that, you know, I'm getting an opportunity to play in the NBA, and I've never taken it for granted, and I never will. And obviously, when you're walking away from it, you appreciate the years you played even more. But I just remember coming out of high school, and, you know, the whole signing the contract with my mom about if I left school early, I'd go back and get my degree, which I never thought I'd be in a position to do, honestly. You know, everybody had high hopes for me coming out of high school. It's like, oh yeah, but you're going to be in the NBA. And I was like, oh yeah, hopefully I get an opportunity to try out and play in the NBA. Was always my thing. Yes, it was a goal. It's like, yeah, I'll say it. One day I'm going to be in the NBA, but I'm also a realist. And like, you know, I hope I get that chance because that's where I want to be. My work ethic and thriving for the NBA would say, you know, I'm going to be there one day, but, you know, I'm as I work towards it, and as I sat and would have a conversation with somebody, I'd be like, I hope I get the chance, you know. So I was going to college to do 4 years and graduate and see what happens, and hope, you know, the lessons and the things I learned from Carolina and Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge attracted the eye of an NBA team and gave me a chance from there. But, you know, I don't know. I just, as a young age, I just knew, yeah, I was good in my area. Might have been one of the best in Florida, but there were still many other states with many great players around that I had to compete with for an opportunity to play in the NBA. You know, overseas wasn't as popular. I mean, obviously, you know, Dirk came out my ear, and we know what he turned out to be. But, you know, you didn't think about that as players have to do now. So I was just like, just keep pushing. And it was just a surreal moment, just hearing, probably after my sophomore year, there was kind of rumors. Well, I'll say after my senior high school, there were rumors, quote unquote, I'll say rumors, that I could possibly go pro. And I was like, who? Me? No, I didn't think I was good enough at all. Obviously, KG went pro. Steph Marbury did 1 year of college. I just didn't think I was, you know, good enough. So I was like, man, I'm going to college and get better, learn from one of the greatest college coaches, you know, to do this, and Coach Smith, and see what happens. And then rumors started my sophomore year, and then reality my junior year. And I was just like, opportunities here. And all of a sudden my mom was like, hey, you remember that contract thing, which I talk about all the time. So I just never imagined, you know, I envisioned myself and believed I could get in the NBA some way, somehow. But 20 years, I didn't see that coming. I was asked all the time, where did 15 years come from? And I don't know. You know, the only thing I could say is, like I said, think of some of our stars of today. They played somewhere between 10 and 14 years. I mean, obviously some of them played 19, 20 years. I mean, later on, but I'm talking about as a youngster, the Michael Jordans, Larry Birds, Magic Johnsons of the world, if you would. They played somewhere between that 10 and 14 years. So I'm like, hey, if I can play 15 years, I'm doing something. Yeah. And like I said, I got to 15 years and I don't know, managed to squeeze 7 more out of there.
Somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
So you actually, it's just interesting for me to think of it this way, because when you think about players today, these guys like, I mean, it's different because it's, a guy like Bronny or whoever, but they know they're going to be in the NBA. There's a certain level of guy that I think knows they're going to, be in the league or whatever it is. But you're saying you didn't know for sure if you were good enough to be in the NBA?
Like, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I guess the realist side of me, I'm a realist, and I was like, well, I finished in the top 5 players in the country and out of high school, and had an opportunity to go to any college I wanted to, but you never know. But I knew going to Carolina, I would get an opportunity to try out for a team, and I was going to do what I had to do to make it. I knew that. But in high school, that was a dream. I got the opportunity to play pickup with a lot of the guys, Magic guys, back in the day, and just playing, and obviously was stronger, faster, but I saw then, and I felt that I could compete, and obviously I just need to get older, continue to work on my game, and I should be okay. And so I always had that in the back of my mind, but I needed the reality.
Were there ever rumors that like you could have gone straight out of high school, or was there ever an offer to go straight out of high school?
No, just the rumors. Okay. It was, I just, there was talks like, hey, he could possibly go out of high school. We heard that, but I wasn't sure. And we didn't even go as far as fact checking and seeing if that was even true. I didn't feel like I was ready for that. I mean, obviously now I know a young kid hears this now, like, what? Are you crazy? You walking away from, but I just didn't think I was ready to do it. I was good enough to do it.
I wonder if that would have changed if you had gone, what would have been different about your career? Because I feel like sometimes when guys go too early, it's not great for them because they're not ready or whatever the case may be.
Your body's trying to develop and all of these things. So you never know. I could have played 12 years or 25 years. I don't know. It's just the things that I learned in college, how to prepare, how to take care of my body, just on a small scale. And, I mean, major college basketball, but it's a little different than the NBA. So going from high school to the NBA is, I think if you asked any player, KG, Cole, T-Mac, Sean Kemp, any of them, and just the difference in the preparation, the beating your body takes night in, night out, and you're tripling the games you played in high school. Like, it's just insane. So, I didn't, like I said, wasn't sure. I mean, I was a skinny kid coming out, and I look at myself, and like I said, playing pickup, and I knew I could compete, but I mean, I'd have been guarding somebody like a Nick Anderson who had me by 30, I was like 190 coming out.
Oh my God.
I could fly, cause I was aerodynamic and I was light. But that doesn't help you when you're guarding somebody who's 225 playing your position and just bullying you. So I think I made the right decision. It worked out. It was meant to be that way. I never questioned, should I have gone straight out? It was great though to see KG, who was a friend of mine, who was a really good friend of mine, coming out of high school, who I was so excited for him. And he was just, I mean, he was 6'10", man, and had unreal skills. So I was like, yeah, that's the right decision for you. But not for me.
I want to go through, if you're willing, your, top moments throughout your career and your best.
Jesus.
I know. But just through each team, just pick like a top memory. So I want to start with Carolina. Obviously, you played in a lot of big games there. What is your top memory or top moment from your years at Carolina?
I have to say, obviously making the Final Four twice. I mean, they were disappointing years back to back, but I played well personally, which gave me the opportunity and to even consider coming out. Another memorable moment, I think, is being a part of Coach Smith's last college game, where he broke the record, winning as coach, and retired right after the season on us. So they're all like memorable. I mean, they
Right.
have disappointment in the end,
Right.
but they're all memorable to me. I mean, any Duke Carolina game, home or on the road, is memorable. You know, I still have the moment that I wish I could go back, I cringe every time I see it. Every year when Duke Carolina plays and they show the highlights of the years past, and I miss the dunk off the backboard. That's probably the one moment I wish I could have back. And because I know what I did.
What'd you do wrong?
That's what I was about to say. I know what I did wrong. So prior to it's a quick story. Ed Cota and I we played in a summer pro league, pro-am, and we were on the same team. And he threw the ball off the backboard. Just easy, just catch it off and just dunk it. It was easy. It's like what we it just didn't practice it. It's like he's a great point guard, great vision, great ability to pass, and I do what I do up there. So that's where the idea came from. So in the game, I always would. So that following season, I would always run down just thinking Ed will throw the ball at the backboard. And that Duke game, he just gave a quick glance and I saw him just underhand the ball at the backboard. And I was like, this moment is here. And it's the biggest game that you can ever play in. And it's weird that you look at it and in your mind, it's like he's up there, but you're not up there long enough to think some of the things that I was thinking. So when I got up there, I'm like, all right, should I just catch it two hands and dunk it with one hand? Could I just regular dunk it just to make sure I make it? Or should I tear the damn rim down? So I chose C.
Right. I was going to say, you probably chose to tear it down.
Yeah. So I was just trying, because it's a big game. I think at that time they were number one and we were number two. So in the country. And it's just like, I remember catching it and I caught it and I remember just catching it. I tried to just cock it back and instead of just going ahead and just get a dunk. And everybody's going to appreciate it for what it is without the power. That's just who I am. That's how I dunk. And that's just what I believe in. I try to show finesse, but at the same time, I like to show power. And I tried to dunk the ball and I overthrusted, if you would, if that makes sense. And because it's just one thing dunking. I just tried to thrust it. And I remember closing my eyes just to get more power and dunk it. And it hit the back of the rim. And I didn't know it because I dunked it first and I looked and I heard, oh. So I was like, what happened? I didn't know where the ball went. The ball went back to half court to where Shamon Williams was standing. And he got the ball and able to dribble up and shoot a three. So we got 3 points out of it. But after that day for like forever, I was just like, please, anything to give me that back. Anything. Because I would do it a little different. I wouldn't dunk it as hard.
So the moral of the story is 2 points is 2 points, with or without the rim coming down.
The moral of the story for me is make the damn dunk. And I got this opportunity to do something like that. Funny story. Now that I think about it, I got the opportunity to do it again in New Jersey. Jason Kidd throws the ball off the backboard. Remember my first one, I said, catch it and then dunk it with one hand. Well, he throws it off. I catch it 2 hands and then dunk it with one hand. And I made it. And I was like, that's all I had to do. That's all I had to do. I don't forget it. We played the Clippers. I'll never forget it. I don't know why. And it hit Chris Kaman in the shoulder and bounced off and everything. I don't know. I don't know why I remember that.
Your memory is insane.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, top moment of being a Toronto Raptor.
The draft, being drafted, obviously is that's an obvious. So I'll say, what came first? The dunk contest. Going to being able to go and represent. Well, I have to back up. Winning Rookie of the Year was first. That was like unbelievable, insane for me. And then the dunk contest and winning the first playoff series ever in the franchise history. And that was kind of unreal because like it's the first time it had been done. And scoring and I think scoring 50 points, getting the opportunity playing against Phoenix on national TV for the first time and I scored 50 points would be the other one. And I'm sure there's more. There's so many. There's so many. But those are the major ones, I think, that kind of pop out immediately. And, as I sit here, we go down later. I was like, oh, yeah, that one too. It was so many.
Right.
But those are some of the ones, yeah. Those are some of the ones I can think of right now.
Do you think your rookie of the year is, outside of how many years you played, would you say that is the greatest accomplishment of your professional career?
And my gold medal.
They're like next to each other.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, those are, outside of a NBA championship.
Yeah.
Which would be, a little higher than that. Those are for sure number one.
I'm trying to think of any accomplishment I have that I could compare with that. Nothing's coming to me. I got a degree. Okay, let's move on.
Hey, that means something.
I'm going to combine these two teams because they were short. Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, top memory.
Skip Jersey.
Oh, shoot. New Jersey. I thought you were saying the Jason Kidd off the backboard was your top.
I just remembered that off the backboard, and then that popped up in my mind as soon as I said that. That's why.
I think that's why I got a little excited.
Okay, sorry. No comment. New Jersey. The Alonzo Mourning dunk. I got to add one more. See, there it is. I got to add one more. Toronto. And this is, I don't even know why, but I think we were playing the Houston Rockets, and I got the game winning dunk over Akeem Olajuwon. Random. Because I consider him one of the, and I'm explaining, I consider him one of the many great shot blockers in the history of the game. And to finish that way was over him. I just remember going by Shannon Anderson. Pretty sure that's who that was. And the next layer was Olajuwon. So I was like, either I'm gonna dunk on him or he's gonna block it, because it was for the game.
Right.
And, so I gotta add that. New Jersey, obviously dunking on Alonzo Mourning. Oh man,
was he so mad at you when you did that? Like, did y'all talk?
No, we didn't talk, and it was. I think it was bigger than just the dunk. Nike wanted to make that a commercial,
right.
And I don't think he wanted it to happen. But the commercial was somewhat made anyway, but he was not in it. But you knew what it was as the lead up, and then it cut out. And I guess he thought I had, I don't know. I mean, I'm just assuming, I'm not speaking for him, right. But I didn't, he was a basketball player, but I didn't understand why we didn't have dialogue for years, whatever. But, I kind of thought this out probably a couple months ago, actually during this pandemic. And that's what I came up with. And I felt like, it was a commercial that he didn't really, I guess, want, but they did it, but it didn't show the dunk, which he did not want to happen,
mm-hmm.
But you knew what it was.
Right.
And they used, if I'm not mistaken, they used the theme song from Onyx Slam. So for people who listen to it, when you go back, you look that commercial up, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. So I think that's where that whole not talking came from.
So that's your top Jersey moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many, like Jersey game winners at Toronto. Obviously those are memorable, especially the first time.
How many of those did you have?
2 or 3. I don't know.
2 or 3 game winners in my old city. No big deal.
I'm obviously the first one is the one you off the handoff from J Kidd to the long distance 3, and then I had the 3 that hit the over Parker, Candace Parker's brother.
Tony?
No.
No, I know. He worked for the Magic. Anthony
Parker. Hit the three over that to go to overtime, and then I got the lob dunk for the game winner from Bobby Simmons backwards. That's the second one. And there might be a third one, but that's the two that are memorable. And I'm gonna tell you another memorable moment. What was kind of crazy is playing Toronto in the playoffs, which was insane. You know, just because of the history and how everything worked out. And I just remember going to Toronto, and it was a red out, so they were all wearing red, but we wore red. We wore our red jersey uniforms on that 2-game trip, and that was kind of memorable.
Was there a lot of booze then for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now let's move on to Orlando, Phoenix.
Orlando. I think I'll say playing the Pelicans. I had 48 against the Pelicans at home, and the fans wanted me. The game was pretty much in hand. I got the ball going over half court, where 3 or 4 seconds left, and the fans were like, "Go for 50, get the layup." And that was kind of the unwritten rules. When the game is over and you won, you just kill the ball. And I did so. And I remember kind of dribbling up, and I remember James Posey was like, "I love you to death, but basically I'll take you out if you go for this layup when the game's already won." Yeah. So that was kind of one of the ones where, you're scoring and you're doing things like that at home. Obviously, I'm from an hour away in Daytona Beach. So yeah, it was just, could play at home, and for friends and family, a lot of friends and family were in the building for that. And to do it in Orlando was kind of special, and just to show I could still get it done in that fashion. And then, of course, just our playoff run and playoff moment, sweeping through the Atlanta Hawks and sweeping through the Charlotte Bobcats at the time. We won 8 in a row, and then obviously played a Boston Celtics team who were tough, who ended up going to the finals, and I think they won it that year against, so we lost to the Celtics in 6. But that was very memorable. And I had some pretty good games in between there. It's funny when it comes to kind of think about a lot of things, my memory goes crazy. But when you talk about play, I remember that.
The exact play, the minutes on the clock.
Almost.
Okay. Top moment. I probably know this, but top moment in Dallas.
Sorry. Well, I got to give you Phoenix. So Phoenix was a tough. Sorry, real quick. Phoenix was a tough one. I just remember. Playing the Oklahoma City Thunder was having a big game or two there. I started in the beginning, and once we were kind of out of playoff contention, I started coming off the bench, but I started putting up some decent numbers coming off the bench. So, I mean, it's just like multiple games. So that's what I kind of remember there. Memorable moments, I was just playing with Steve Nash and Grant Hill, who are obviously 2 Hall of Famers. Steve Nash will be a Hall of Famer, so I'm just putting that out there now. So it was kind of a cool moment to kind of to play ball alongside those guys and kind of see how they operate. I enjoyed that. Top moments in Dallas. I hit a few milestones. I don't remember exactly what they were scoring, but I think hitting the game winner in Dallas against the Spurs was probably by far the number one moment in my Dallas, in my 3 years in Dallas. I mean, a couple playoff games, playing well against Oklahoma City was a big one, but it was nothing like that shot for a lot of reasons. I mean, I missed the game-winning shot in Toronto against Philly, and to kind of have that moment roll back around and see that thing go in was kind of, it was one of those things like you say yes and you want to react, but you don't really know what to do. You just, whatever happens, and it was kind of, and I don't typically, I mean, if it's a dunk that I did that I didn't get to kind of see the replay and it felt like it was just a boring, or I heard people ooh ah, but I was like, I didn't know wasn't sure what that looked like. I know what it felt like, but it didn't look like. I would go back and watch SportsCenter to kind of see the actual dunk that night before, I would watch film. This is before you can go just grab an iPad and,
right. Watch it right away.
Watch it right away. So when I hit that game winner, that was one of the first times in a long time I was just rushing home to see it. Once everything calmed down, I finally got home that night, just to kind of see it, in replay and my reaction. Cause my reaction, that's kind of just organically happened just because of just the excitement of the moment, the team we're playing, and so on and so forth.
It was a great moment. Top moment from Memphis.
Man, I feel bad. I got to go watch some highlights. I tell you, a top moment was pretty, and it's the year we had 28 players. We had 28 players come in and out of that team that year. Somehow we still made the playoffs because we had a lot of guys get hurt, and playing in that playoffs against, I think we got past Portland. Yeah, because Mike Conley got hurt and we played Golden State, and we were down to very few guys, and just to be a part of that, and just to not see the quit, and we had guys coming up from the G League, for the G League, and starting in playoff games, like. So what's the play? Yeah. By the way, you're starting at the point or two guard, at that, not like a shooting guard. You're starting at point for us tonight, and it was just like that throughout the year. And just to be a part of that was special amongst, there's so many moments, man. I hate, if you would have prepped me for this, I'd have had a nice little list of things for this part of it. But because I feel like, I'll hate myself later on for missing so many moments. I know when people hear, they're like, yeah, what about this moment? Yes, that moment you're thinking of is as significant as just.
And I'm just asking for a few of the top moments, not like your best memory. And I'm also asking you to recall 22 years of memories. I can't even remember what I did last week. So it's understandable that maybe you can't remember. No, for sure. No, it's just I tend to put games and years together. So sometimes I may speak on something and I know I feel like I'm just putting 2 years together. But maybe if there's more episodes, hopefully we can maybe do more prepared.
Double back. No. I'm just saying because it's like I prefer, because it's like you're asking me moments and I'm just whatever pops in my mind, and those are some of the memories and the moments that were pretty special. So yeah.
Top moments from Sacramento.
So we played, was that, were we playing the Heat? Cleveland at home. And, I had one of my better games, and the old vents started to come out, fadeaways and just crazy threes and just the whole nine. And it was cool because I was playing against one of my buddies and one of my young guys who was my rookie in Dallas, Jay Crowder. And we used to battle all the time. So as I moved on and he moved on, played on different teams, and he started to catch on to the league and how it's played, and he became a veteran. Our battles became more intense, fun, a little trash talking. And, I remember he's always talking about that. Oh, I'm going to take advantage of you now, man. You ain't gonna just keep, beating on me and scoring on me. It's like, so that game, I got busy, and that was one of the memorable moments. And I'd say my other memorable moment was actually against the Hawks. Woo, that scared me. My other memorable moment would be against the Hawks, and it was some protests outside of the arena.
Yeah, I was at that game.
What's his name? That was killed in his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember going there, and we were trying our best to get that game canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting, walking to half court, talking with Dwayne Dedman, and he was obviously trying to get it stoppage right along with the owners and everyone, just trying to kind of get everybody on the same page, and the NBA wouldn't allow it, and us playing that game, and but actually understanding the importance of what was going on outside of the arena, because there wasn't very many people there wasn't very many people inside of the arena, and it kind of reminds us of now,
mm-hmm.
On a smaller scale, because for that moment, not even the fans, and the players and the two organizations understood what was bigger at that moment than the game of basketball. And obviously we still played the game because we the NBA would not stop the game. But the cool thing for me afterwards is the guy who put the protest on and everything, and it was a peaceful protest, and obviously a lot of people couldn't get in, but I got the opportunity to sit and talk with a couple of them after the game. I was with George Hill, and I was with Garrett Temple. The three of us had a nice conversation with them, and you just kind of speaking his piece, and he really thanked us as players for trying to do what we consider the right thing. And I have no clue who won that game. I think we just went through the motions that night. Yeah. To be honest with you, it was just kind of like a pickup game, and it was like, go ahead, but I don't want to get you hurt.
Right.
That type of thing. That's what it felt like. Just a glorified, not even an all-star game, but like a charity
summer
game.
League game, kind of.
Or even like a charity game that for donations to some, whatever. So it kind of felt like that, and because we were just not there, and we understood the bigger picture, and getting the opportunity to sit and talk with the gentleman, and him really understanding why the game had to still be played, but we took the time afterwards to sit and talk to him and kind of get on the same page and hear him out and hear what he and all of the protesters had in mind. And it wasn't to be violent; it was just to let their voices be heard. And we were part of that, and it's kind of full circle.
Mm-hmm.
The moments here again for a lot of other young men and women who's lost their lives. So that was very memorable, and to be a part of it and try our best. We tried our best to get that shut down, but we also wanted to know, yes, the game has to be played, but we'd rather be supporting the folks that were outside who were really fighting for a bigger cause.
Mm-hmm. And I remember the owner, what was Vivek? Vivek, he addressed the crowd and told everyone he was going to do whatever he could to make a difference here. And what's crazy, and I have to shout out my girl Cassidy, who does social with me, because she's writing a story right now about what's going on right now with the protests. So back then we had life to distract us from what was going on. At the end of the day, we still got back on a plane and we flew to San Francisco and we played another game and all that. But right now that's not happening. And so I think it's allowed, a brighter light to be shined on everything that's happening with, police brutality and racism and everything. We don't have sports to turn on to, I want to see something else. I want to distract myself. We don't have that. Which makes it
easy to forget about what's going on if sports were on. Yes, we do need a break from what's going on, I think, so everybody could recharge. But that you're right, because you guys left, and 2 days later, we had to deal with the protest again. I think it was 3 games total. where in our families and, a lot of the coaches, players, families couldn't get in to come to the game. So, it was just a lot going on, but it was understandable. I know Matt Barnes, if I'm not mistaken, had a protest going on the second time. And I know DeMarcus Cousins paid for, the young man's funeral. Outside of the game having, being played for us, we wanted to support the protesters, Stephon Clark's family, his brother, who made a statement or two. And we got the opportunity to kind of sit and talk, with it, his family and friends, and, Vivek speaking and wanted to do whatever he could. And meaning, Garrett Temple, George Hill, and I, got the opportunity to sit and talk, kind of almost like a town hall meeting, with some police and locals, just about the situations and, where we are and where we need to be as far as police brutalities and, just the unacceptable killings and how Stephon Clark was murdered. And it was just a great opportunity and moment for me to be a part of. And I know Matt Barnes did a protest, and I know DeMarcus Cousins paid for the funeral for Stephon Clark. So there's a lot of guys who did some great things in his honor for his family and for the community.
It's cool that is one of your top moments in Sacramento, because, some people would say that would be one of the worst, or, not something that they want to bring up, but because you were able to help how you could, or, spread the word or spread the message, that it allowed that to be a top moment for you.
Yeah, I agree. Because it was a chance for us and to use our platform to know that, we know we have a job to do, but their family, and supporters of Stephon Clark, wanted to let the situation be heard by any means. And we were able to do that. We were able to help and assist doing that. And it wasn't just the if you would, the Black athletes. I mean, it was all athletes, all of our teams, and, a lot of supporters from the organization and Vivek. So there's a lot of people on board, and that was a way for us to kind of use our voices and our platform at that moment, for the Clark family.
And we'll come back to this a little bit at the end, just to talk about what's going on right now. But we'll finish this kind of section with your top moment as an Atlanta Hawk. I would like to give you mine first, which would be when you made the dunk.
25,000
for your 25,000 point. When we were like, it's going to be the next game. It's going to be no. Oh, he's going out. It's going to. Oh wait, no, he's coming back in.
Right. For sure, that is definitely a top moment. To be in an elite group of players, scoring 25,000. You look at that group and it's just all legends of the game. And then I think. Breaking the record, stepping on the court for the first time for my 22nd season was memorable. It's just one thing signing the deal, and it's like, talk about it, and those, as maybe, I think, as just leading up, I just wanted that stuff to happen and stop talking about it. It just kind of, I know it's there. It's just kind of, I didn't want to, it all based around me not wanting to be a distraction to the team. And, because I know there's a lot that was going, a lot that came with 22 seasons, the record, and a young team. And so it was just cool to be able to do so in Atlanta, gave me the opportunity, and then of course to accomplish another goal that, another achievement that really wasn't a goal or I never even knew to think about, was playing in 4 decades. Like I don't, I didn't even know anything about that. Like I'd be like, what? That didn't even make sense. But
it still sounds like you played 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But playing throughout the course of 4 decades, and having teammates from like Hakeem Olajuwon to Haywood Workman, who's an NBA referee now, Jason Kidd, who's a coach, to Sean Marks, who's a GM, to Elton Brand, who's doing big things, to now Trae Young. So, I mean, I just have an assortment and a wide range of players in over a course of a long time. And that's not even adding the players that I played against, like the, Pippins, Jordans, Barkley, Stockton, Malone, to the current stars of our league now. So I've gotten the opportunity to foul and take fouls and charges and see some unbelievable basketball over the course of 22 years.
Speaking of fouls and charges, I remember you telling a story about when you just ended up on your back one time, but
from Shaq?
Yeah. But what was the hardest foul or the, hardest charge you've drawn?
Easy.
What is
hardest charge? Well, I would say the hardest charge. Let me see. There's been a couple of those. Those you tend to forget. Back in the day, you had motivation to take charges. Sometimes we were throwing ourselves in front of Mack trucks getting knocked over. Like, is that a charge? Like, no. Oh my God, this hurts. Like, yeah, you did get it. So there was some painful nights. And as you get older, you hit the floor. They hurt a little more. But they tend to run together. So, but I will say two of the hardest, they were both, one was a foul, one was not. Shaq fouled me. He took me out of there, and that hurt a lot. That hurt a lot. That was, okay, there's a third one. That he hit me, and I remember it's in front of their bench, and I was, flying, doing all kinds of stuff, and he just stood in the way. He didn't really try to take me out. He just stood, put one arm up, and I hit the whole right side of Shaq, and he flatlined me, and I remember hitting the floor back first, looking at the Staples Center lights, and it was just like blurry. It was unreal. That one, and I remember Armand Gilliam playing at, he played for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the first half, I was just flying, dunking, doing all kind of crazy. Young, it was my first year, maybe my second year, might have been my first year. And in the second half, the first time I tried to dunk, he literally took me out of the air and pretty much pushed me into the cameras, and that sit under the basket. I flew into the cameraman. And he didn't get thrown out. It wasn't flagrant. That's just the way basketball was.
That was just a foul.
It was kind of like, that was just a hard foul. It might have been like a flagrant one, maybe. I don't know. And he's like, and I remember, he's like, bro, you ain't about to keep ducking and flying around here like that. Nah, you're gonna earn this. And I was like, damn. That's just how it was back then. It's like, yeah, I just remember going up, I was like, yeah, I'm about to duck again. Oh, flying backwards. And I'm landing into all these cameras. It was like crazy. And then my rookie year, Karl Malone sets, I'm guarding whoever, we're playing, obviously, the Utah Jazz. And I remember the guy I'm guarding, it might have been Shannon Anderson. He throws the ball and he's going off a screen up top on the left side of the key. I'll never forget it. In front of our bench. And Karl Malone hits me with forearms, like both forearms in the back of my neck, knocks me down. And I had a whiplash and a mild concussion from his forearms in the back of the neck. And I'm standing there. He said, damn, young fella, you got to tell your big man to call the screen out. Mind you, I'm like, what?
You're like, what? Who?
I heard him, but he's like, yeah, damn, young fella, tell your big man to call the screen out. And that was painful. I was like, man, is that possible? Because I had no clue he was there. So it's not like I could brace myself. So when he hit me in the neck and the back, I just literally popped all the way back.
Oh my God.
And had freaking whiplash. It was crazy. Early in my career.
I feel like the kids have it so easy these days.
Yeah, and he didn't. I mean, like I said, it was just
not easy. It
was no foul, no nothing.
Right.
It's just different. The game is different. It's judged, seen, called, played different than it was back then. I mean, yeah, because basketball was more half court and physical, particularly in the East. And my first 11 years was in the East, so it was, Anthony Mason, who was a 3-man, the big dog, like Glenn Robinson. I mean, we talking about brutes, and everything was just physical, and you can hand check, and you can just put your hands on people. Like when you would run through the lane, like you had to be on the swivel, because if you weren't looking, you might get knocked out or knocked over for sure. It's just the way it was, So, and I remember practices when we would practice, coach was like, he just ran through and nobody basically touched him. Nobody put a hand on him. And, and I remember, I'll never forget Butch Carter, our rookie year, made T-Mac and I, who were the youngest guys, we would run from the top of the key down the center of the paint under the basket, and guys had to man, it was just like, what are you doing? Getting us ready for the playoffs against the New York Knicks. We got swept that year, but he was preparing. He's like, you think this is something, Anthony Mason or Patrick Ewing or, Sprewell, they're going to be following you, and Kurt Thomas is going to be knocking your ass on the ground. Like all of this, that's kind of how it was. And it's like, bro, this is not even basketball what we're doing. This is not even basketball what we're doing. And for sure, it prepared us for it. And it was just like, oh, thank goodness. Like we went through this, or we'd have had no idea.
Yeah.
And still wasn't enough.
Physically wouldn't have been ready.
No.
So
it was a different game.
We've made it through your top moments, at least for right now. We'll go back and we'll go back and address them. But I want you, first of all, you mentioned maybe preparing like a statement or something. Did you do that? No? Okay.
It's not finished. It's not.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have that in the future. But
yeah.
I want to give you an opportunity to address fans listening who have supported you, like we had talked about earlier, been there for you through your whole career.
This is so unprepared.
Do you want to? If you want to wait, we can do it on a different one.
No, I don't like those. The ones I prepared never sound right to me. No, I mean, it's just I'm coming into the league, known but like unknown what I could do, what I brought to the table outside of athleticism, and being able to open the eyes and ears of fans. And, you gain fans and you lose fans as you go for whatever reason. It may be the experience throughout my years on every stop has been memorable, fun, and I go through, outside of maybe my last couple of years, I say Orlando and Sacramento, my first 11 to 15 years, that sounds crazy. My first 11 to 15 years, right. It was just about me establishing who I am, how I am, and how I enjoy playing the game and how thankful I am, and never realized the impact that was made in Toronto, from our standpoint, meaning the players, like the young guys, T-Mac and I, just going through, just trying to figure this game out. And, we always talked about how we wanted to dominate and how fun it is to play on the same team with your cousin and what that meant to us. And, it was just, we knew fans were there. We knew people watched, and we knew people were going on this journey with us, but never knew the impact it had on young kids, in the area, particularly with being, Toronto for so long was a hockey town, period. And, basketball was just, there's another professional team here. And we were able to turn that around and gain the interest of a lot of hockey fans. And yeah, you may love hockey, but now basketball is something to enjoy and to go watch as well on an off night of hockey. And to watch people start to walk around the city with basketballs and to see them, basketball courts go up. And I did some dedications, and I built a court or refurbished a court or two, in Toronto, and just to kind of just change the culture, and didn't really, that's because I wanted to do it, not because I felt like I had to do it. It was just something I wanted to do. I mean, I knew as a kid, for me, being able to go outside and shoot a basketball just to get better or just to burn some energy was, substantial. It was needed. It was important, as a kid, and it keeps you out of trouble. And so I just played the game, did what I did because I loved it. So throughout my years, that's what it's been, and I'm truly thankful for the diehard fans. I'm truly thankful the fans in general, the people who still like, he's not that good, he's just whatever. That's fine too. I mean, because everybody's going to have their opinion. I'm a diehard sports fan, and sometimes I feel the same way about other players and whatever. So it's been a dream. I admire the guys who got the opportunity to play in one city for so many years, like a Reggie Miller, like a Dirk. But at the same time, for me, I got the opportunity to experience fans, new people, new situations on different parts of the country. Being a Florida kid, I got obviously the opportunity to play in Florida, but like migrating out to Phoenix and Sacramento and then Dallas and places that I would have never gone. I would never have gone to Sacramento to do anything. I mean, as a young kid, that I didn't foresee it. So to gain new fans and people just who to see things different and just learn, and it's been an unbelievable ride. I mean, I can't even imagine. No, I can't even think of how many teammates I've had over the years. One of these days, I'm gonna look it up. I know I'm in the thousands.
Has to be.
Probably.
Someone add that up and send it to us.
Yeah, I need. I think I need to know that. But and I say that because it's like obviously a lot of players I remember, a lot of players who came and went so quickly that I probably don't remember them initially. But as I recall, them, I'm just like, man, I had a moment, and I always made it my business to. I hope every player, briefly or for years, can say one thing about it when I walked into the locker room for the first time, or they walked into the locker room for the first time. I always tried to make them feel comfortable and welcome, whether they were there for a 10-day or whatever. And it's just because I have appreciation for players and guys who are getting the opportunity in this league, and particularly when you're older, young guys are getting in this league trying to stay, and I'm the older guy in this league trying to stay as well, and that's why I understand it. But the support over the years has just been crazy, and I think I've always appreciated it, but I think now that I'm 3 months and some change removed from the game, and I think back, like we take the trip down memory lane, I'm just thinking like, man, it was a cool moment. Like, things weren't so great in Phoenix, but at the same time, when I sit here and thought about it, like and I say that because it's just the trade to Phoenix happened so abruptly, and it uprooted my family during the Christmas holiday, and it just kind of was just like on the wrong foot. And at the same time, man, I had a good time, man. As I met some great people, and got to experience a different organization once again. So. As the summer goes on, I gain more and more appreciation for fans, and reading more content and emails, tweets from people, and just kind of telling their story and their memories. And I think that's the coolest part about it. Social media, and because some of these stories that people tell, good or bad, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I remember that. I remember, good and bad, whether I missed a shot or so, not all of them. Like some people like, hey, fans was like, hey, I tried to get your attention before the game or during the game, and you walked right by me. Like, and for those fans who, didn't know, to know me on the court is like, I always felt when I stepped on the court, I had a job to do, and I kind of like lock in and I'm in my own bubble. Yeah, I celebrate and I laugh and joke with fans here and there, but that was kind of my job. And, I try to do the best of my ability to be able to warrant a team to give me an opportunity to play this long. And the Hawks bringing me back for a 22nd year because of my value on as well as off the court. So, I just had a big picture in mind. And I always tell those fans or those people, it's like, when you walk into your job, those who take their job that serious, when you walk into your job, imagine me yelling, hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Do that thing real quick. Do that thing real quick.
Right.
But you're like, man, I'm locked in. I got to get this job done. I got to get this whatever in for so it can, do what it needs to do. So that's why I like to, to kind of make that aware. And I like to say that to those people and for them to understand, like, I understood that I was trying to play in my 40s. And for me, every night counted, especially year 21. Mm-hmm. Every night counted for me because I was choosing to come back a second year, a 22nd year. So I had to prove to all teams watching, all teams that were interested, all teams that called me that summer showing interest that I could still play the game. So it was that crossroad where you have to sacrifice. Are you going to make a few fans unhappy because you're not focused on them and you're focused on the job at hand? Well, that's kind of what's important to me. And I feel like we'll mend that relationship somehow, as they see me play and like, okay, I get it. And maybe they don't get it and they hear me out now. So I'm just all over the place with it because I'm just kind of thinking, about just a lot of different things over the course of the 22 years. And, it's been great. And I'm truly thankful, to read, the social media, like we talked about in the beginning about those, like you said, GMs, them at home who feel like they know what I should be doing. That's just them being a fan and having love for me and my game and me playing the game for so long and wanting to see a proper ending. So it doesn't annoy me or bother me. It's just sometimes I'm just like, hey, it is what it is. But that's just them being a fan of mine and trying to look out for my best interest. And I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And, this kind of opportunity to get to say that for the first time. It's like, for all those people who feel like they know what I should be doing, sometimes it's annoying, but I at the same, sometimes when I step back, I do get it, cause I try to put myself in their shoes as a fan, mm-hmm. as a Bucks fan. Right. What I want from my team, why this, that, and the fourth, why we've been struggling, and then all of a sudden, and good things happen. So it's just the way it goes. But I'm thankful, man, and I feel like every month that goes by, I'll have more appreciation for a lot of things. I'm thankful for the organizations, that I've played for. I learned a lot, and I've learned some do's and don'ts if I ever get the opportunity to be in that job and that mode, which is better me as a person, as a player.
I never thought about it from you make a very good point of the, hey, like, corporate man 9 to 5 is in like a meeting and, someone's knocking on the door. Hey, do that thing or wave to me or whatever. Yeah. It's like, yeah. I mean, it's different because you guys sign up to
I have to give
audience.
this speech. Let me do it. Yeah. Like, hold on real quick. It's kind of like that. And, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just try to put people in my shoes before they go judge and just say they're, they hate you because you didn't, whatever. I just always want to kind of make them aware and put them into, flip the script a little bit and see how you would react. And then hopefully they see it different. Yeah.
It's like me being in a cubicle and then being like, hey, do that thing where you wave to me or come sign this, but you're like in a meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like big picture? Because I just thought about this while you were talking and it's kind of insane. How many people you've left an imprint on, like, when you think about it first from the fan level, like millions of fans, people in all across the world in third world countries who somehow got a Vince Carter Raptors jersey, to your teammates, that you've had, what we think it might be thousands. I don't know. I want to know what that number is. But do you ever think about the impact that you've had on these millions and millions of people?
I do. And the crazy thing about doing that is I feel like what I think the impact may be in my mind is probably bigger because I don't get to see everyone. It's like what I mean by that is like, okay, 30 teams, people show appreciation for whether they like you or not. And then when you walk away, you see all of these people like, hey, we appreciate you. And you think about like, I've been to China a bunch of times, so I know I have a lot of fans there, but then don't even think about the other countries around the world and how many people are fans. Cause you don't know until they reach out to you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know it, but I just don't know it. I don't realize it. I mean, and it's just crazy. Like I said, I'm a Weibo and I go in there on time to time and just read whatever I can actually read right. for the ones who speak in English and to me. And it's just, hearing their stories and their memories and to think that they're watching games probably 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of the crazy. And, so I do like, man, I just, when I take my trips to China, to see how they react and show appreciation, I'm like, wow. I don't understand it until I actually see it, I think.
Yeah. You have to like quantify it or see it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
You have to be in the moment. Like when you see it live and that's when it kind of hits you like, man, I didn't even realize it was like this.
Right. No, that makes sense. So what's next? I know there's so much you want to do in this next chapter of your life, but even in these next couple of months, other than golf, because we know you'll be playing lots of golf, but what's next for you? What's Vince Carter's, the beginning of your next chapter going to look like?
The beginning of the next chapter, what does it look like? It's still, it's now that once the NBA kind of pans everything out and everything's kind of smooth and gets rolling, I'll move forward. But I mean, obviously broadcasting is still a huge interest in maybe management, doing something in management, working with the team is a possibility as well. So those are two things, two options that I'm looking into right now. And down the line, obviously ownership, when an opportunity arises, but right now I'm just kind of taking my time, because it was kind of the waiting game for so long, just seeing what the NBA does before it's quote unquote official. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go from there. I'll sit down with and probably talk to some teams as far as interest, in like a management position of some sort. And then I'll sit down with, the ESPNs, Foxes and Turners of the world and see what's there as well and kind of weigh my options and make a decision. I think the toughest decision, the toughest part of all of this is kind of accepting that phase 1 is done. Mm-hmm. Going into phase 2 and having these meetings and talks is kind of like, yeah, I hear you. Let me think about it. Let me just wait a few, because of, the accepting of basketball is finished, right, is going to be the challenge. And as I walk into some of these meetings, and I would explain that to him, and I know me, and I know that's going to be my challenge moving forward to be able to get to phase 2. Mm-hmm. Like that is my hurdle right now, because it's still fresh. It's still new to me. Yes, it's been 3 months since the last time I played basketball for real. I've played a little bit, but like for it to actually count in an NBA game, let's say since March. And it's kind of like, since then it's been, it's so, it's over. Yeah, I get it. It's over. But reality hits, and I know I got to kind of get off my soapbox and figure something out soon. But it's just like, it's still going to be an uphill battle for me.
I think you take as much time as you need, obviously, and I don't know of anyone off the top of my head, maybe some older folks, but who have done the same thing for 22. So you've played in the NBA for a majority of your life, right? So I don't think there's any right way to come to terms with your career as a professional basketball player being over. And I don't think anyone's like in a rush to make sure that, has Vince Carter accepted it yet? So I think you take your time and, to really accept this, because it's a big change for you. But I'm confident you'll still be around the game.
Yeah,
all
somehow.
The time.
Yeah, and I look at it. It almost feels like that decision the decision to come out early in college, whether I should stay or go. It's almost has that kind of feel for me right now. And it's not really, and I don't want people to kind of read into this, stay or go. Wait a minute. You talk about, it's not that, it's just the feeling like, letting go of now NBA over is that, should I stay? It's over, but it's just like accepting it and letting go is the tug, more so than anything. And once I'm slowly, I'm in my mind. Yeah, it's over with. It's just kind of, right, it's over it. Now you can go do something else now. Come on, go. No, it's like, that's the fight. So
right. Well,
I'm getting there.
It's only been like a week, right? Since it was official, if even a week. I think a week. I'm not really sure. But either way,
I sure don't know.
It hasn't been 3 months, because for, the past 2 months and 3 weeks, we've been thinking there's a pretty good chance we could still be playing basketball after all this.
For sure. I've been telling you it's not happening. Let's be real. I know that I've been saying like, it ain't happening.
I hung on to hope. Okay. But I'm
I'm talking about me, from me.
Right. I'm concerned that there won't be basketball at all, but I'm trying to stay positive. I just feel like every sport keeps running into all these problems, It's like, do you think there will definitely be basketball in July?
I don't. I don't know. It's just, I know the concerns of the players, what's being said and I understand the concerns of some of the younger players who want to play to because they need to make their money to live. Now the next hurdle is, so I guess they're starting testing now. And the question will be, how many players on teams will come up positive? And throughout the course of this time. So you think of, if a player or two comes up positive, they're out for 2 weeks. But let's say it's staggered. So now you're staggering, and maybe it's, if you're a team that has a team of, it just has a lot of very good players on your team that is significant in the your championship run, and it staggers out, that hurts your team and your chance. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be the next hurdle and concern initially. And I think once teams get their players back and you get past the 2 weeks, but that's the thing. That's the next thing. You when the 2 weeks are up, like, so guys are now back in their market, going through testing. For the ones that are positive, they're out 2 weeks. Well, in 2 weeks, they're going to go to Florida to now have to play catch up from being out for 2 weeks.
Right.
And no telling who's the next player leading up to when their 2 weeks is out. They run into already being Florida playing catch. So it's going to be a lot of that.
Yep.
And signing in and signing out, signing of players, bringing them on. So it's going to be a weird season. And regardless, like you said, do you put an asterisk on the season? No, because everybody's going through the same thing. And you're going to have, this is going to be a true uphill battle to win a championship.
Yep.
Not just beating your opponent. You're beating
the virus.
Exactly. At the same time, can you keep your team healthy long enough to have a chance to win? That's kind of the question on that side. So it's a lot of obstacles, and it'll be interesting to see, really.
I'm hoping for the best. I need some sports. I need basketball, so I'm hoping for the best, but it's worrisome to see. You
haven't watched golf? No. Every Thursday to Sunday, you get some golf in your life.
I would love to tune in to watch some golf. I love golf.
You're probably watching USC.
I have been watching UFC. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap up this episode for now. Hopefully there will be more episodes coming in your retirement season. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a question mark.
I'm still around.
So, all right. So we'll go ahead.
I'm still jobless.
Well, you got a job right here.
Right. Exactly.
We'll go ahead and wrap up. So thank you so much to everyone for listening. This seems to be officially official that Vince Carter's amazing Hall of Fame, unheard of 22-year career has come to a close.
Yes.
But I'm so thankful to have been a part of that. I know everyone listening is so thankful to have been a part of that. And it's hard to imagine the sport without you. So it's been quite the ride.
Yeah, it has been an unbelievable ride. It's going to be, like you just said, it's going to be hard to imagine not being a part of it as a player. And I'll have my moments. So for all you folks who happen to see me walking around and I'm probably not going to be in the greatest of moods, understand the fact that I'm still dealing with not playing, because I know I'm going to be a moody, ornery, sometimey kind of guy for a couple of months, just because of the game that I love and something I've been doing for 22 straight years is now come to a close, and it's been like I said, it's been great, and I'm truly thankful for everyone.
And we are truly thankful for you, and hopefully we can continue to document what you're up to up until whatever is next for everyone. But we'll still be here, and so don't forget to let us know if there are any guests, maybe some retired people as well, who you guys would like to see on the show. Let us know. We're always open to suggestions. Don't forget to give us
5 stars.
5 stars. Leave us a review.
Please.
You could be nice, but like I said, the haters are our motivators, so we love all of y'all, and thank you so
yeah, man.
Thanks so much for listening, and we will talk to you next time.